We're in the only race that offers the prize of everlasting life to all those who cross the finish line. It's the only race of that kind. And in this race, we don't compete with one another for Jehovah's favor. The spirit of competition in this world is out of control. In fact, can you imagine a professional soccer player resorting to biting a rival in a soccer match? And really, we see so much competition and so many people in the sports world who just don't follow the rules of the game. In fact, there are times when I enjoy watching some sporting events, but there are times when it just sours me when I look at the attitude of some of the players and the way they deal with one another, and also the egotism and the pride that's involved with them. There's another thing also that I find almost amusing, except for the individual it is. And in some cases, you can identify the sport that a person may be engaging in because he's got no front teeth. Now, I won't enumerate what sports I have in mind. I'll leave that with you. But the point is, we never want to stoop to biting a rival runner in the race that we're in. It can be done. Let's take our Bible and look at Galatians chapter 5. Galatians chapter 5, and we'll read verses 15 and 16. Here the Apostle Paul wrote to the congregation, "If though you keep on biting and devouring one another, look out that you do not get annihilated by one another." Well, that has to do with cutting gossip and evil remarks about other people, and that they would argue and fight over words and perhaps even traditions. And Paul is telling them, don't do that. And we don't deal that way with our brothers and sisters. And then in verse 16 he says, "But I say keep walking," and we'll insert a word there, keep running by Spirit, and you will carry out no fleshly desire at all. And that's what all of us want to do. It's common in races for the faster runners to pass the slower ones. But we shouldn't be discouraged if someone in the race that we're in passes us. It might seem that he passes us or she passes us. Maybe the individual has more experience, more ability, brighter. But it's not going to make any real difference as to the outcome of the race as long as we give Jehovah God our best and we finish the race. And that is a key point for us to keep in mind. It's the outcome of the race. A runner sometimes stumbles. You've perhaps seen this in some of these field and track races or games that they play. And usually if it's a short race and he stumbles, he's out of it. He's just not going to be able to get back up and win the race. He may finish the race, but he's not a winner. Maybe he falls down, hurts himself. Well, that can happen. And that can happen to us even in the race that we're in. But the key point with the race we're in, even if we fall down and we stumble, we get back up and we get going. And who doesn't stumble over something at some time or another that irritates him or bothers him? But we never stop running the race because all we want to do is stay in the race and finish it. And something else to keep in mind if a person happens to stumble, even fall to the ground, don't look back at what caused it or who caused it. Keep your eyes right in front of you, looking ahead at the course. Because if a person, can you imagine a runner coming around the track and then looking back constantly to see, what was it I tripped over? Or who did that to me? He's going to run into another runner. He's going to be disqualified. He won't be obeying the rules, or he'll just fall down again and he'll be out of the race. So we don't want to look back and worry about past things, problems, or stumblings that took place. We get back up and we get going as well as we can. Well, right now we're near the end of the race. The goal is almost in sight, the finish line. What does Paul tell us at Hebrews chapter 12? Hebrews chapter 12, verse 1. Paul writes, "So then, because we have such a great cloud of witnesses surrounding us," who is that great cloud? Well, chapter 11 gives us the names of a lot of faithful people who ran the race. They finished it. They finished it when they died faithful to Jehovah. And we have this cloud of witnesses around us. We can read about their life, their experiences. It's just as though they're on the sidelines, in a sense, having completed the race, and now they're cheering us on. Finish it. Look at our problems. Look at the things we've done in spite of difficulties that we've had to face. You can do it too. That's basically what they're telling us. And then he says, let us also throw off every weight and the sin that easily entangles us. Well, that sin that easily entangles us is a lack of faith, isn't it? We can drift away, become irritated over some direction or perhaps a rule of some kind that we don't particularly care for. And little by little, a person can drift away, but we don't want that to happen to us. In fact, we can become very anxious about certain things. A key phrase that's good to keep in mind is reduce anxiety. Whatever we can eliminate from our life to do away with anxiety is of benefit to us. And then he goes on and he says, and let us run with endurance the race that is set before us. And we do have some wonderful examples of past runners. Hannah, Ruth, Jephthah's daughter, Abigail, Moses, Joshua, Caleb, and so many more. So we want to imitate their faith. And isn't that a wonderful publication we have? Imitate their faith. It's a pleasant thing to take an evening, perhaps each week, and with your mate or with your roommate, go over a chapter of it, read it out loud, and cover the material. It's very inspiring. And we know we can finish the race. We're going to do just what Jesus said. The one that has endured to the end is the one that will be saved. Just stick with it and give Jehovah our best.